Hello, Amity City. It's 3 a.m. and we've got a lot to talk about. Last night, when I said I was done pulling my punches, I wasn't kidding. We're going to talk about each topic from now on with all of the certainty I have, no more gentle guidance towards the truth. And today we're going to talk about wizards. What I mean to say is, screw it. I can feel every single monster in the city's presence at all times. I can't detect monsters if I'm staring one in the face, but I am acutely aware of each and every occult being in Amity City. I can tell you the exact number of vampires, werewolves, ghosts, abominations like the Screaming Devil, and anything else that has been created or touched by the occult. I can tell you their names because I can hear him whispering their titles and species. So there's a rash of people disappearing all over the city. Not like going missing. These people just walk into buildings and never come out. They're never reported missing and are often seen entering the same building again later. User @CoraTheKook on Pixie has been posting videos on her account of people walking into Q's bar in Hatbridge before it's even open for the night, and then just never coming out. And there are a few other places like this, actually. Westbridge has this small park, Audrey Haley Memorial Park, and it has a fountain in the center where people keep reportedly walking into it and then just vanishing. So I went and investigated a little bit. I couldn't look too deeply into Q's bar because I noticed people coming in, going into the men's bathroom, presenting as a variety of genders, by the way. Q's bar is cool like that. And then just never leaving the bathroom. I asked the bartender if there was like a speakeasy or a hidden club in the men's bathroom, and he told me to mind my business, and then didn't stop staring at me the whole time I was in the bar. So I decided to check out the AH park, and yeah, sure enough, people who all looked like grad students with the tired eyes and leather backpacks and business casual look going on just walked into the fountain and vanished. You might have seen a video on social media of a woman throwing herself into the fountain and then slipping, like 5 times. That was me. Suffice it to say, I decided that I should probably stick to researching in books for now, so I went to Amity Central Library and learned some things about the fountain. It was built about 80 years ago during the Urban Renewal Project by a young architect named Hugo Patton. We've talked about him before. He was the architect behind the Grayscale building in Westbridge. Apparently, he was super specific about a lot of the details. The statue in the center is of a woman named Kathleen Merrigan. If you've lived here a while, you know about Merrigan. For the uninitiated, though, Kathleen Merrigan was a stage magician who was pretty much world famous. When she lived here, the city was dying, and her magic shows are one of the things that revived it. The theater district is practically only here because of her. The Ariel Theater was her favorite, and wouldn't you be shocked to learn that people vanish inside that building too? Around the base of the fountain is a bunch of symbols that no one can really translate, but apparently Hugo was very specific about how they should be designed, cleaned, and cared for. I managed to track down the city planning documents for Q's bar and the Ariel Theater, and Hugo Patton did build Q's bar. But obviously the theater was a bit too old for him to have built. I think these buildings and spaces lead to a church, or something similar. I think these people are entering a secondary space and going to a ritual ground that only people like them can enter. I know none of this is solid proof of wizards yet, but that feeling I get when I see something that's a part of the occult, when I look at it, applies to buildings and other locations, too. It's like when a cop says they trust their gut, and their gut instinct tells them that... You know what I mean. Let's run some ads, and then we're going to talk about these wizards and what I think they're capable of.
Spellhouse is hiring engineers. Any and all people with a degree in any field of engineering are welcome to apply. If you are selected, we will move you and your family out to our primary facility in Galena, so that you can aid in the construction and design of tools and vehicles that our soldiers are using in Arovia and Belvac. Spellhouse Technology would like to offer you your first step into the future.
Xenos is offering 2-for-1 trade-ins on all Pomegranate and Intelligence Core Solutions phones this winter. Upgrade your phone and a loved one's phone when you start a new plan in any of our 200 Xenos stores around Redonia. It's the season of gifts, and there is nothing nicer than to give yourself a new phone. All Xenos phones come preloaded with international calling, so if you have any friends or family on the front lines, you can call them at no extra charge. That's the vibe. Xenos Telecom. The war must be getting worse. I swear half of my ads mention it at this point. Let's get into some music. This is Lover's Quarrel by Peter Marston. Alright, so wizards. I don't mean robes and beards who wander around yelling abracadabra, although I'm sure there are some of them who do that. Last year, in the middle of fall, a man was in Westbridge's central branch of the Redonian First Bank. He walked through the door, and every single security camera in the building went down. A brave person started filming on their phone as he walked up to the counter. His hands were moving like he was doing a cat's cradle or a puzzle cube. As he separated them, a glowing green light bridged his fingers. He then threw it at a security guard. The police report doesn't mention the body of a security guard, just a black smudge on the floor about 6 feet long. He demanded all of the cash from the registers in the vault. The teller started to threaten him, claiming that cops were already on their way, and he just waved his hands, moving his fingers like he was playing a trumpet, and suddenly the teller just smiled, complying, doing whatever he asked. Soon enough, another security guard seemingly got brave enough to try something. The security guard fired 4 shots from a Tovsky C9 9mm semi-automatic pistol, which is the same service pistol Redonian Army use. So, suffice it to say, it can put down a horse. In the video, the man pulled a stick from under his jacket, flicked it, and the bullets just exploded into butterflies. He then released a bolt of light from his wizard wand, and the man flew through the air and was knocked out. This is what I mean by wizards. I have 3 other reports of similar robberies, 7 homicides, 2 incidents of gang violence, and more arson charges than I can count. A person wiggles their fingers or a stick, and suddenly something happens. One of the cases that particularly interested me was one of the 2 incidents of gang violence. Normally, these cases are only filmed on broken phone cameras or from 3 streets away on closed-circuit security. This one, well, the closest camera was 10 feet from the fight and stayed on for the entire thing. It was buried deep, locked inside files, redacted, hidden, practically burned. I found it, though. Let's set the scene. Last winter, we had that massive crime wave. The ACPD precinct raid started after the police department started tearing apart Wick Bridge trying to hunt down a supposed terrorist. It was cold. Near the Docks District. 3 people in military gear, body armor, helmets, rifles, and one without a rifle, walk into an alleyway. At the end of the alley, there is a person hunched over a corpse, seemingly eating it. The men with the rifles lifted their guns, and the one without a gun pulled out a stick, maybe a foot long. There's seemingly some sort of argument, probably telling the suspect to surrender. The one with the stick turned his body to the side, and the camera caught sight of his patches. On his shoulder was a blue circle with an emblem of the sun in the center of it, with some acronym under the emblem. Under that was another circular patch that had a burning hand on it. My research has turned up nothing on either symbol. They all start shooting, and the suspect breaks into a sprint towards them. Breaks into a sprint might be a more human term. Begins climbing one of the walls towards them. On the footage, you can see blood spray from the suspect's body, but it's minimal. It looks like there wasn't much blood left in the body to lose. The suspect grabs the wrists of one of the men and throws him about 20 feet into the air before turning to the other and biting him in the throat. The audio on the security camera footage is muddled, but it is haunting to hear. It seemed like the suspect was using the man he had bit as a shield to stop the one from the stick from attacking, which worked. The officer with the stick hesitated, and then the assailant rushed towards him. The one with the twig set the entire alleyway on fire with a swish of the stick. They set fire to concrete and brick. The suspect started screaming and tried to run away, but the stick wielder flourished it again, and what looked like chains began to shoot up from the asphalt and wrap around the assailant. Those chains then held him down in the fire as the one with the stick walked away. So, magic is real. Wizards can do some very scary things, and I think some of them are working for the government. I think that particular wizard is likely a part of some wizard military that hunts monsters. Sorry, supernatural beings. Just to clarify this real quick, if you are a supernatural being in Amity City and you are listening to this broadcast, I'm not judging you. I should be. I should be very upset that you eat people. But I'm not. And I don't understand why. But you're just trying to survive like the rest of us, so. What I don't understand is how. How do these wizards know how to do these things, and how does it even work? Let's run some ads, and then we can go a little bit deeper, and then we'll end the night, alright?
Amity General Hospital and Trauma Center needs your help. Money has gotten tight, and if we are to build a new wing to take care of the sick, injured, and needy, we need more funding. If you have the ability, please donate as much as you can. We know money is tight all around the city, but to those who have the ability to render aid, we could really use your donations. Thank you.
The Commonwealth of Redonia is at war. Arovia and Belvac attacked our home 15 years ago, all in the name of their solidarist ideals. We chose not to bow to their planned societies, and they tore one of our great cities apart. We ran them off of our land, but the war still rages. Redonia needs soldiers. She needs medics. She needs pilots. We can offer you very little, but our gratitude and a combat pay of $2,000 in UDN per tour of duty. Your country needs you. There it is again, the war and the financial issues caused by it. It's just strange. This song is White Suit by Reaching for Stars. So I decided to do some digging into my theories. After begging Luce for an entire afternoon, she pointed me in the direction of a group of PhD students. I watched them for a few days. They always vanished into the same places: Q's bar, the fountain, the aerial theater. They barely even looked around to make sure no one was watching. Apparently, wizards don't sleep very much, so it was easy to follow them around for days unseen. One of them had these dark red bags under her eyes, like it had been months since she last slept. In the time I followed her, I watched her pretend to open doors, only reaching up a little bit before the handle would just swing to her hand. It would have been convincing if she didn't stumble around so much. She would pull her coffee across a cafe countertop to her hand from a few centimeters away, but every time she would spill it on herself. Every time I watched her do her little trick, she would look around, slightly panicked, but she would always look right through me, like I wasn't what she was afraid of, like she didn't care if I knew, but there was something worse that could be watching. A week into stalking her, and I still couldn't follow her into any of the strange locations she would vanish into for hours at a time, but she would always come out the same place, dressed differently, with more and more exhaustion present in her eyes. It's like she couldn't sleep. One night, she was at a random bar in Westbridge, high-class, expensive. I decided to push my luck, and approached her to talk. I only had to half flirt with her before she started buying my drinks and talking to me. I asked if she was tired, and she said, yeah, the waking is a nightmare. I asked what she meant, and she clearly reassessed the situation and claimed it was a tradition of her school, but she wouldn't elaborate any further. When the check came, she didn't even look at it, just waving her hand over it, leaving what I think was $400 below it. She started to leave, and I pressed my luck again. I asked to go home with her, but she shook her head and said, I can't. I'm afraid of the dark. I followed her back to her apartment. I had never been this close to answers, and I wasn't going to let a criminal charge stop me from getting those answers. I climbed a fire escape opposite to her place and watched as she lay down on her bed. And then 3 hours later, her body started shaking, ripping. It was like it was reacting to being hit and stabbed and bitten. It would twitch as though to protect itself from a strike that wasn't coming from our world. I threw up. I called the police. I didn't know what else to do. 3 weeks later, I found her tombstone outside of Amity Cathedral. Her name was Ilona Reese. The epitaph read, another dreamer lost on the path to oblivion. On her tombstone was the letter M, written in a fancy font. I asked some occult forums about those words and got one response. M means male Mary, and if she died on the path to oblivion, it means she died in another world, the waking, the sleeping world where magicians are tormented by demons of all sorts. I'm not really sure what most of that means. After reaching out again, this person deleted their account and vanished. I went to Amity Central Library because something about the waking felt familiar. I found an old poetry book written by Khalil Boisvert from 30 years ago. It was one of my mom's favorite poems. She always interpreted it as a solitarian talking about the afterlife. You know, the 3 heavens and the 7 hells, that sort of thing. Which, if you know anything about Apocratic philosophers, you know that's so far from true. Khalil was a fervent denier of the existence of God, and I can't imagine that. I'm just going to read the poem. When my own eyes shut and my heart beats slow, when the sun sets and the world hums low, I find myself lost in the waking place, where no wind can be felt upon my face. It is as hell, silent and infernal, as demons walk. It is as heaven, for there the truth does talk. I find myself missing in a field of gold grass. I lose my feet wandering in a maze of brass. It is a place my mind refuses to know, from cities and streets to where plants do grow. It twists endless like the organs of men. To know it has warped me and from me stolen. I cannot sleep, for when my mind is there it is wide awake. I am losing myself when I walk inside the lake. This place is heaven's punishment and prize. To know it has allowed my mind to be wise. This was the only mention of the waking I could find in anything the library had to offer. Police files didn't have much to show either, so I think I'm at a dead end with this one, unless someone wants to call and talk about it. My theory is when Ilona entered her dreams, she went somewhere else, and something killed her. This waking might be home to something evil. Whatever it is, most wizards clearly fear it. When they're in our world, they have so many tools for protecting themselves, for attacking others. So if whatever is in there is capable of killing one of them, I can understand why they fear sleep, why even the strong fear the dark. Good night, Amity City. Go get some coffee. It's going to be a long day.
Amity After Dark is a narrative horror fiction podcast by Livewire Multimedia Stories. Claire White is voiced by Gwen Fullman. Written by Gwen Fullman. Co-executive produced by Gwen Fullman and Elizabeth Fullman, with music by Gwen Fullman. If you enjoyed what you just listened to, please consider contributing to our Patreon. If you would like updates on this project or any of our other projects, come follow us on Instagram at Livewire Multimedia, on Tumblr at Livewire Media, or subscribe to us on YouTube at Livewire Multimedia Stories. Thank you for listening.